Well, hello all. I'm Stephen,
And I'm Liz.
and we want to welcome you to DIS 500 for summer uh, 2014.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness, yes, it's hard. And this is our introductory video for our class, which actually starts on Monday, July 7th. And what we're going to do tonight is go over the syllabus a little bit,
A
lay out
little
a
bit.
little bit, lay out some of the logistics, um, what our expectations, how we see the class coming together over the next 5 weeks. So you want to say anything here? Okay, well, we posted the course syllabus, as you know, and that's in the syllabus document or syllabus folder. We've also posted the readings for the course, and we're using the PDF version, so please excuse any editorial notes or editing notes from our latest text, but we're going to do all the reading from our new text, but that's
Yeah.
also loaded. So you'll
Oh,
have
we're pretty excited
right,
about it.
yes, right. So that's just coming out.
Yeah.
But let's go through the syllabus, and we'll try and lay out what our expectations are, what we intend to cover, and set up. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know. So if you'll pull up the syllabus, we're not going to go through it in detail, although I can do that, as you know. Um, this class, because it's a 5 week class, does go rather quickly. So it's one of the critical things is to stay on top of the readings and stay on top of the responses. There are three fundamental assignments. We'll talk about those in just a moment.
And we're going to record lectures and or have activities 3 sessions each week. So we will post a lecture on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday for you to access Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
And those lectures, or however we set them up,
Right.
will correspond to the reading that is assigned for that day. So, as Liz mentioned, we'll record something in some format, some media presentation on Sunday night for Monday's class. The reading for Monday is on the course syllabus in that designated day.
Right, and you should be doing that reading before you access the materials and do the activities for that particular day. So the readings that are assigned, say, from next Wednesday, which is the 9th, you should do before the 9th.
Right.
And so that you're prepared to understand the lecture material and also to do the activities. And we have a built-in assignment for you, hopefully, to if everybody stays on track, that you will keep up with the readings and do those prior to any of the other activities that are based on them.
Right. So, as you know, it's an asynchronous course, which means you can go on anytime during a 24-hour period. But
and so can we.
And so can we.
And we do.
To write your responses to both the readings. There we have divided you into 2 discussion groups, and so the classes, although there are approximately 12 people in the class, there's roughly 6 people per discussion group, so that it doesn't get too unwieldy. In your discussion group, and we sent out the email yesterday telling you which discussion group you were in, that will be your primary area for responding both to the readings, to what we have identified and we'll call instructor guided questions, and other activities that you will come across during the course of the next 5 weeks.
So the point, I'm sorry. So the point is to post not only your reading summaries, and we'll go through the assignments in a minute, but to post everything you do to those folders so that, and then you to read the work of the other students so that you start a discussion back and forth. And that then simulates class on-site discussion groups so that the richness of the class occurs within the discussion. And we also love to read it, so that's why we're so excited about the asynchronous nature of the course. You'll see us popping up there probably 2 or 3, sometimes 4 times a day.
And so one of the things in terms of, as Liz mentioned, we will be recording in some format the lecture, at least three lectures a week, right prior to the designated class. That'll come in a variety of formats. Sometimes it may just be simply an audio lecture. There may be other videos.
You think we're going to do talking heads again?
We will probably do talking heads. Or there may just be a PowerPoint. And so we will follow that type of format. In terms of for your responses, feel free to use any of those formats in your discussion group. You can.
Most of the time people do. Write text, in an email or an attachment. We urge you to try other kinds of sharing and talking with one another. For example, do an audio. There's a built-in audio recording right on First Class, so it's very simple to do. Or you can do it on your iPhone or whatever Android phone you have. But feel free to experiment with different kinds of interactions.
Okay, let's start now with the assignments, and then we'll just kind of briefly go through some of the other issues. There really are three fundamental assignments. The first is your summary or your evaluation assessment of the readings, and please post that to the discussion group. And so that's asking you to thoroughly respond to the readings, and we have in this particular assignment, if you look to assignment number 1, it asks you a number of things. So it's a summary of the readings, a critical analysis of the readings of the materials, insights that you gain, questions that you might have, areas of disagreement.
And just that reminds, just because we wrote the text, it's a controversial text, and we look for honesty and disagreement as well as agreement. So it may be that you don't like what you read. Please feel free to post that, and that will start a discussion. And the richness of the class lies in the discussion and the analysis of the issues and application to theory.
And to make it a little easier to follow in your discussion group, your readings, please in the subject line indicate the reading response for session number, whatever the session number it is.
Yeah, so it's on the syllabus, the structure.
Right. So that's assignment number 1. Assignment number 2 is what, for lack of better terms, as I mentioned, we've called these instructor guided questions. What we will do is in our lectures that happen at least 3 times a week, we will be posting either an activity or questions, and we're asking for you to respond to those again to your discussion group. And also indicate that in terms of, in the subject line, what you're responding to, the session that you're responding to. So response to guided discussion for session X. This again is detailed a little bit more on the assignment. Your third assignment for this class is yours. We're asking that you...
We're reading the assignments as we're recording this.
We're asking for you to...
Oh, thank you for making that bigger.
Yes. We're asking you to read each of the postings from your group mates, your discussion group mates, and respond to the posts of the other students for assignments both 1 and 2. And in this, we want to be thoughtful in terms of your responses, but please don't just respond, I like what you said, or I agree. If you agree, why did you agree? If you disagreed, why do you disagree? Give some evidence. Develop a substantive kind of response. Again, there are 3 fundamental assignments in this class, and this last one is really critical because that really is where part of the conversation and the discussion happens. That's where you're talking back and forth to one another.
And we'll also chime in there as well, because we will always comment in general on your assignments as a whole. And sometimes we comment specifically to each of you. If there's something that we read that we see warrants comment. And if you want us to comment specifically on your work, let us know.
Right, and that's really important because Otherwise, we're going to have a tendency to look at the group as a whole and make larger, kind of more global responses.
Right.
But certainly, individual feedback is warranted, can be warranted. Just let us know, because unless you are asking for it, we may not be doing that.
And just, a couple things. The people will often ask us, how am I doing in the class? And we're not looking for agreement. We're not looking for correct responses. We are looking for your thoughtful analysis of the readings and response to instructor guided questions. So one of the things that you'll see is that this is not a class that has a body of knowledge that you're going to be tested on. Did you get it right? Because these are the approach that we're taking to theory is to look at what is disability through this particular lens that we're suggesting, and other lenses as well that are discussed within the text, but that we also critique. So, I mean, I think that it will become clear as we go on. Some of you who have had us already, know that our style of teaching is not to give you something to memorize and to be correct about, but rather something to reason with.
Right. And so subsequently, this is a graduate level course and is taught in a seminar fashion. So what makes it a seminar is the give and take, it's the back and forth conversation that occurs between us, between you and your group mates on an ongoing basis.
Sorry, you may say, hey, Gilson, you're wet behind the ears. What
Right.
are you talking about?
And that's perfectly fine. And because as you also know, and there are many areas that Liz and I disagree. And of course, that'll come out in part of the lectures that we give as well.
Yeah, and I think we're going to team teach this whole course.
Right. We'll team teach this entire course. But the point is when you're making an assessment, whether it is an assessment of agreement or a critique or a disagreement.
Or did they really say that?
Provide the basis for that conversation, and not just I liked what you said or I agreed with what. If you agreed, why did you agree? What's the basis for that agreement? So that will become easier as we move through. So if you look to your assignment, your instructor guided questions for responding to this, and there are under
For
session
today, you
1.
mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
for today. And we're asking you to post in the discussion folder to introduce yourself fundamentally, and you can see the details of this, but asking you to introduce yourself to your discussion mates, your discussion group mates.
And please say, whether you've had courses in disability studies or not, because some of you have had more than others.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what we're asking you to do also is we've posted some pictures. These are on the course syllabus, and we're asking you to think about these in terms of design and branding.
Yeah, there aren't just pictures, though. We started out with some questions. Sorry.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm reading this now, as you can see. So, the lecture and exercises, Rethinking Through Design and Branding, is the title of what we're asking you to do. So, the first is define inspirational, that word, and give an example of someone who is inspiring to you. Identify characteristics of physically attractive adults and post photos to illustrate your definition. So, who is attractive to you? And please post a photo to illustrate that. And again, they can be a range of options. And we are not looking for politically correct responses. There's no particular response here. So please go ahead and do that. And then number 3, we posted, I think, 5. Yes, 5 domiciles, houses. And we're asking you just basically, who do you think lives in each of these houses, and how do you know? So look at the houses, tell a story about who lives there, and then tell us why you selected that particular story. And then the next, number 4, is to tell a story about each of the people pictured there are 3 people who are shown in the photographs that we posted. Similarly, tell us why, say, for example, that, the woman who is seated in the wheelchair, she reminds you of so-and-so. Let us know what these people do during the day, what they're like, where they live, etc., and whether they work, whether they don't work, etc.
Right. And finally, taking all of those together, all of those exercises or instructor guided questions, post your thoughts about why we're beginning the class this way. What might be behind DuPuy and Gilson's mind.
What were they thinking?
And what does that have to do with disability theory? So that's your assignment for when you're posting that to your discussion group, and ultimately in your discussion group you're going to be responding. From there, the remaining sessions, if you look on the course syllabus, what we have done is identified the chapter to be read and the overall topic for that day. So on July 9th is Disabilities Designed and Branded.
Yeah, and so one of the things, again, we often will get this, until you get the sequence and the rhythm of the course. For July 9th, please make sure to read Chapter 1 prior to July 9th. For Session 3, July 11th, Disability is Abnormal, we've assigned Chapter 3. Please read that chapter prior to July 11th and post your response prior to that as well. Similarly, for July 14th, read Chapter 4 prior to that date and post your assignment number 1. So for each of those chapters, read and post assignment number 1 prior to the lecture on the date.
That'll do a couple of things. In addition to initiating the conversation within your group, if there are issues that emerge, either lack of clarity of understanding what the authors were trying to convey to that DuPuy person, since we know you're going to understand what Gilson thought, then what we can do is we can, in our lecture, try and attend to those things ahead of time. So we'll be doing that to some degree. But
I hear some fireworks outside.
Absolutely, it is. It's July 5th.
Yes.
And July 4th, it was raining. So at any rate, that is.
And the doggies here too. They're barking.
Right. That's the thrust of our class over the next 5 weeks.
And so I just want to say, as you go through the syllabus, you will see that there are a number of topics. And those topics all look at disability as a function of design and branding. And at the end of the class, what we're going to do is suggest that there are ways to undesign and then redesign disability such that social justice and inclusion are achieved in a different way than they are now. So that's basically the focus of the class. And the last class will provide some guidance for, oh my God, how do we do this?
Right.
And so we're going to critically analyze disability through this particular set of theoretical concepts. And then we're going to look at, okay, so what?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to look at, so now what? And how do I do the so what? And wrap up.
Great. And so that's it. If you have any questions at all about what we're proposing to do in the class, you might want, for general questions, you can post to the general discussion folder. Because my guess is if you have a particular question, somebody else in the class will.
They have the same question, absolutely.
In terms of technological support, we've identified that on the course syllabus. Your primary area for technological support is going to be, if you write on first class, to CED Tech Help. So that's CED TECH HELP, or of course first class.
Right.
And so those are support mechanisms for the class.
And we'll try to help you with what we can. But if your first class isn't working, or you're not able to attach or download or do whatever,
Right.
that the university has to help you with that, because the system goes through their servers.
So,
So
with that, we look forward to our class commencing, and look forward to the
we
next
can't
5
wait
weeks.
to
Yes.
read all of your work, to hear everything about everybody.
Yes. Take care. Good night now.
Good night.